Welcome to an episode of the Myrrh Bearing Millennial Podcast. I'm your host, Jill, and as a full-time homemaker, homesteader, and homeschooling stay-at-home mom, I'm on a mission to help moms find joy and fulfillment in their marriage, motherhood, and business, all while growing deeper in their Christian faith. Each week, we'll discuss relevant topics that I pray will help you strengthen your marriage, gain confidence as a mom, grow a profit to support your family from home, and bring you closer to Christ. As someone who endured childhood trauma, abusive relationships, and has learned the hard way that feminism has been harming women and weakening the family unit more than it's been doing good, I'm here to share with you what's possible, to show you the power that God intended for women, and to help you harness the beauty, grace, and entrepreneurial mind that is the Proverbs 31 woman we all strive to be. So let's get into today's episode. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Myrrh Bearing Millennial Podcast. I'm your host, Jill, and I am honored, truly honored to have today's guest, Courtney. I've been following her for a while now. She has an incredible following and just like the most beautiful, picturesque, inspirational flower farm, and has launched a creative agency where she helps people grow on Instagram. And she launched recently a guide called Homegrown Revenue. I'll let her get into all that, but I was really excited when she started doing all of this and just love the message that she shares and the content that she creates. Truly, it is just beautiful. And she just does it so seamlessly. And I asked her to be on the show because I want her to talk about this, the content creator side, being a mom, all the things. Like, I'm really excited to dive into today's conversation. So without further ado, I'm going to let Courtney continue introducing herself. Courtney, welcome.
Thank you so much. Honestly, I didn't tell you this until this moment, but my bucket list item, my vision board item was to be on a podcast this year. And you're my first ever podcast.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I mean, funny story. I had created a podcast last year and I did a few solo episodes, but I didn't really ever take it further than that. But I was like, I mean, I just would really like to be a guest on a podcast. I want to do that, I'd have so much fun. So thank you.
Oh, yay. I feel honored. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Well, I'm glad. There you go. We just marked off a bucket list thing for the year.
I know. I literally, my vision board has it on there. I could be like, done.
Oh my gosh. All right, so tell us about you first, like all the
Yeah.
things.
Okay. So yeah, I'm a wife. I'm a mom to three. They're all 8 and under, one little girl, two little boys. I had them back to back. I said I wanted 3 by 30 and we did it. And then I was like, what the heck did I do?
Oh my
So that's been fun. And honestly, I'm the typical like multi-passionate Delulu entrepreneur woman. It's been a crazy wild ride over the years. I've done so many different things. They all kind of link together though. I tell everybody because like people are like, what do you do? I'm like, just marketing. Like my sister's like, people are asking me at work what you're doing now. I'm like, just tell them marketing. Everything goes under marketing. Everything that I do, if I do something new, it falls under marketing. So yeah, that's where I'm at. But I was a photographer for over a decade. So when I was in college, I started taking pictures and it quickly turned into a business because I'm from a small town. So I was like one of the only ones with a good camera and I started charging for sessions. And so I built up a photography business to a 6-figure business with 3 babies. Like I think it was actually the year that I had my third was my highest income year. And I was working part-time hours and I had a little studio we had built in the yard. And yeah, I loved it. And whenever we sold that property, I kind of burned out on photography. But at the time, I was already making websites for photographer friends. I loved my website. The marketing part of my business was my favorite. Like I loved my website. I loved doing the social media. I loved email marketing, all those things. And so, yeah, it all kind of turned into Coyote Brands, which was my next business. And that's where I do, show at websites for photographers and creatives and all kind of other industries come to me. And then, I mean, in short, I started a flower farm to kind of get off the computer, honestly. Isn't that funny? I was like, oh my gosh, like my whole life was around a screen because of everything marketing was online for me. And so I'd always gardened since I had my first. I'd been gardening for 7 years and I came across the flower world. I took a tour of a local flower farm and I was kind of just really inspired. Like, I need this. I need to be outside. But the Delulu multi-passionate entrepreneur, make money out of anything, was like, I can make money from doing this. So of course that made my husband get on board. He was like, what do you need? And my dad came and we built a greenhouse and all this stuff. And so yeah, the flower farm was born, Wildwood Acres. And last summer was our first season with it. And so I sold bouquets out of my flower farm stand. But you know what the biggest thing with my flower farm was photography sessions. So we've come full circle.
I, I
We've come
love
full
that.
circle. I'm shooting families in the flowers, and then I have my little farm stand, which fits my life because I can't really go to markets and all that with all the little ones that I have. So it works. We just make it work.
I love that so much. God just works in like really cool ways on how he does that. RJ and I are seeing some like similar stuff happen in our life right now in a season that we didn't think that a lot would be happening. And I think that that's awesome. And I admire your pictures and stuff. I wish I had, I'm trying to develop a green thumb. Like we try to do like a normal garden and stuff every year. And I don't know. I don't think I have the touch, but your flowers, like the arch, what was the arch you shared in your stories? I think
Okay, so you might not have those where you are. They're called Peggy Martins. But they're named after the woman's house that they grew at in New Orleans that had flooded during the big flood New Orleans had. And when the flood waters receded, the Peggy Martins were still alive. So they named the Peggy, but I don't know their original name. I'm gonna have to check for you. But they are like weeds, and they even so that plant, a Peggy Martin rose, if anybody wants to look it up, that plant, when you plant it, it spreads out its limbs, and if a limb hits the ground, it'll reroot right there and create another one. So it's a really good plant to take cuttings, in other words. You could take cuttings off of it and, I'm
just
pretty sure it would be illegal, but I would mail you a cutting. I'm pretty sure.
keep
You can't mail live plants with no license, but then I'll check on it.
Next time I come down to Charleston, South Carolina, I'll just like drive down to come meet you in Louisiana real quick and just steal a flower.
Yeah.
I just thought the arch and stuff was beautiful too.
Yeah.
Um, okay, but so your brand, like Coyote Brands, what inspired you to create Coyote Brands and like tell me the story behind the name and stuff? I think that's awesome.
Oh yeah, that's a fun one. Okay, so Coyote Brands was just what I when I switched from photography to like coaching entrepreneurs, doing their websites, all the marketing things and the support. So I named it Coyote Brands because when we moved to this property, we're on 12 acres and most of it's wooded. And we've been here 3 years. When we moved to this property was whenever I was creating the business, but I didn't have a name for it yet. I just knew that I wanted to coach, I wanted to teach, I wanted to I teach email marketing through Coyote Brands. I do websites. I do email, like all kind of stuff through Coyote Brands. When somebody needs copywriting for a website, that's what I do it through. And it would be every night when I was up working on my computer, this pack of coyotes would be screaming and howling right outside the doors and the windows. Because I mean, we're in their territory, like we're in the middle of their territory. So they would come up really, really close to our house, and it was almost deafening to hear them. And coyotes are so interesting to me because people see them as like trash dogs that like kill their chickens. They're just like a nuisance. They're a predator. They're all these like bad things, like you just want to get rid of them. But coyotes are like super intelligent and they are really good at community. Like they work together. Like they'll lure an animal out with one of them and then they all like they're smart. And they're actually really beautiful. I saw one, we stared at each other for probably a good 3 seconds before it turned around and ran. And then we were both in shock looking at each other. And it was the most beautiful little thing. And so yeah, they're very resourceful. They thrive in community. They're just kind of misunderstood a little bit. They're not like this regal animal, like the wolf in the mountains, that people just like have like paintings of, these wolves and stuff. Like they're not held to that high of like a standard, I guess. They're seen a little bit under that, kind of like, I don't know, just very relatable to me, coyotes. And so I was like, Coyote Brands, I would like to work with brands like that are resourceful, that they thrive with community. Like they're just gonna like make it no matter where they are. Like a coyote can survive anywhere.
Yeah.
And so it was just like a fun thing, like they were howling around me all the time and the meaning of them was really cool. I just related to it and just I'm happy I did it. I do like the name. It matches me
I
well.
I love that story so much, and I feel like it even fits, like you were talking about, like how they're kind of misunderstood in ways, but they're so vital and necessary to nature and everything. And I feel like we were talking earlier about marketing and stuff, and I feel like that kind of fits just the marketing title as it is. Like people will complain about being online or influencers or the ads and stuff that they see, and I'm like, yeah, but if it wasn't for creatives, if it wasn't for like you wouldn't know about these products. You
Yeah.
wouldn't like and it's kind of the same thing. Like I feel like creators are misunderstood a lot. We get made
Oh
fun
yeah.
of and aren't taken seriously and stuff, but we're also changing the game for a lot of brands and like for stay-at-home moms especially and everything. And I think that that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah,
Uh
marketing to me is just, I tell people marketing to me is just giving people what they need to fall in love with you or your product. It's like showing them what they need or telling them what they need to know for them to connect and fall in love with the product or the service or you or whatever it is. You
yeah.
know, so you have brands that you just like them, you just love them, like you have a connection to them. I know you mentioned like your tallow brand that
Mm,
you use, on Instagram. Like you share brands that you know and love and you connect with. It's because of their marketing that you know and love and connect with them,
mm,
because you're not on the phone with the owner or the creator like this. Like you're not friends most of the time with all these businesses,
yeah.
but you fall in love with their story, just what they represent. And so all marketing is like figuring out what you represent, figuring out who you are, and then like figuring out how to put it on a silver platter for people to see what it is and say yes or no.
Yeah.
No,
No,
because marketing's
yeah.
not always yes. Sometimes it's an absolute hell no.
Yeah, and
Which
it can
I learned on Instagram.
exactly. And it can be in such in like drastic forms where it's like you see this person post about this one thing for a long time and then finally you decide to do it. Or it can be very, very sudden too, where this is
Oh yeah.
so random, but like I was on TikTok yesterday and all of a sudden this dentist popped up in my feed. And he was like, as a dentist who's understood that cavities are actually a disease that can be reversed or something. These are things that I would never let my kids have. And he talked about this toothpaste that's like this prebiotic toothpaste thing and I was like, all of a sudden I need this toothpaste. Like I have no idea who this dentist is. I've
No idea
never,
it existed yesterday and you need it today. Isn't that
yeah,
crazy?
no idea who this dentist is. I've never followed his story, but he presented this and I'm like, wait a second. I need this
Yeah.
toothpaste now.
So funny story. I have the exact opposite that just happened to me with marketing. And we notice things like this because we are marketing. So we notice what other companies are doing, but they still get us. Isn't that crazy? I'm like, you got me, like that worked. And it's so weird to know what's psychologically happening whenever I'm reading something. Like I know what they're doing. I
Yeah.
know what they're doing, but it got me. So I started taking some, oh my gosh, what's the word? Beef organ supplement.
Supplements. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I've been seeing this brand for years, honestly.
Which
Probably
one
like
is it?
years. Primal Queen.
Yeah, I've heard that I use a different company, but I've heard things about Primal Queen, yeah.
Okay, so for like 2 years, I've seen it and thought about it. I'm like, oh, that'd probably be a good idea. That'd probably be a good idea. Blah, blah, blah. So it's been like a year or two at least. And and I could feel that they were ramping up on me. I could feel it. I would see it so much more often. And I was like, I must have like stopped the scroll too long on something. And what got me was a review from someone that just hit me the right way. It sounded like what I wanted to happen from, before and afters. And I was like, oh, that social proof got me. I'm ordering it. So I ordered it. And then I sent the link to my sister and she ordered it. So it's just like that's how it happens. Like it's just marketing can be, I didn't know about it yesterday. Now I know about it and I need it purchase. Or 2 years later, I've been watching you
Mm-hmm.
and you just said this and I'm done.
Yep.
Like got it. And that's happened with clients with me and I laugh about it because on our clarity calls, so I do a coaching calls. So on a clarity call, I was explaining to her just the journey that different people go through to like buy and book and all this stuff. And I said, some people have bought multiple of my guides and then booked a clarity call because they trust me because they've read my guides. And then the clarity call would be the next step up. And she was like, that was me. I took both of your guides. And I was like, no, I know what happened with you because I shared a review of my clarity call and you messaged me and then booked. So you were thinking about it. And then I shared social proof and then you clicked book and you booked because I remember when it happened, you know?
Mhm.
So I was like, yeah, that's how our brains work. That's what we need. And I was like, if you can look at what you do when you buy stuff, then you can translate that and make it to where other people go through like the same motions. And it's not coercion or anything like that. It's just like a natural, like, here's information, here's a different kind of information, here's this kind of information. Do you want to buy it?
Mhm.
I'll say yes. Some people will say no. So
Yeah.
marketing is so interesting and fun to me. I truly do. I love it.
Say, and this is why I feel like story selling is just blowing up this
Yeah.
year. And I think it's always done well. Like most people connect and want to buy anyways from a story and connection, but like we are seeing that's just this massive, massive shift of people choosing to purchase more from a story or an emotional connection
Yes,
with
absolutely.
product, even if they don't actually need the product. It's just like um
Absolutely.
something connected with them emotionally and was like,
Yeah.
okay, I need this. All right, so Instagram, let's
Yeah.
let's stay in the world of Instagram then and talk about marketing. So as an influencer in the Instagram growth world, what are some of the biggest mistakes that you see people making when trying to grow their audience?
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, I really don't think of myself as an influencer, even though the numbers might say that. I don't know why. I just like, and I'm gonna explain exactly why actually. I say I don't know why. I'm gonna explain exactly why. But I teach something in my authentic influence course that talks about the influencer trap that we fall into.
Mm,
And it's because we see these influencers and we see like their big followings and all this stuff and blah blah blah, whatever you as a person, see and want to emulate or whatever in these people. So you notice these things, but a lot of times, whenever you try to recreate what an influencer is doing, you're trying to share every bit of your life and everything, and you're kind of like just trying to share every bit of your life, but none of it's connecting because it's a little too thin. And so, to me, whenever someone can get really clear on their actual goal with Instagram and really clear with what they're either selling or what they want them to download and stick to that content for a while, you
yeah,
get more traction than trying to spread yourself thin over multiple topics. Now, that's not like people want to be like, oh, well, I do this and I do that and I do this and I do that. And I'm like, yeah, but does this relate back to what you're selling?
right.
Because if it doesn't, it's hard to circle and like come back to what you're selling because you have to decide like, is my Instagram a fun project to do or do I need an income from this? Because if you need an income from Instagram, then focusing and niching down is really, really powerful. It's just you can burn out whenever you focus and niche down because you might get sick of the messaging, but you can also burn out trying to figure out like, what do I post today? What do I post today? What do I talk about today?
Yeah,
So it's trying to find that balance of like you're creating content that serves a purpose and gets you to your goal, but also connects with the right people.
yeah,
And it takes practice, and sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
yeah,
So it's just one of those things. So the biggest mistake, honestly, is just not having a clear goal. And I know that like people see people with huge Instagram followings and then they'll see them sharing about everything under the sun and they think that that's how it got them there. But honestly, my fastest and biggest growth was on Instagram was when I was hyper focused on my messaging
mm,
and I was just saying it in a different way over and over again for like a short period of time. And so Instagram knew exactly who to show me to, and people related to it and followed it. And then the people that saw them, the interactions with that from that person went to the people like them. And that's just how the algorithm works. It feeds it to the same people that are interacting with it.
yeah,
And so if you're posting about XYZ on this day, and then the next day you're posting about ABC, then Instagram is trying to show that to the XYZ people and they're not connecting. And then the algorithm just gets thrown off and all these things. So honestly, it's really if you can power through and say for the next 6 weeks, I am sharing about this product
mhm,
that I have. and learn about recreating the messaging over and over and over again and posting as much as you can. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, but posting as much as you can and getting that content out there and letting it gain traction and letting your new content back that up to where when they do come from that reel, they see content that is almost the same because our brains like that, it's backing up what we thought we liked about this person. Oh, there's more. Oh, there's more of that topic.
Yeah.
Then that's when you get the faster growth.
I love that. And it's so true. Starting your business is the easy part. Honestly, when you look over the grand scheme of things, like creating your products, figuring out your offers, what it is that you want, like that's all the easy part. The hard part is the consistency because you're
Yeah.
so excited and you have this energy and you're like, yes, I'm launching this. This is great. And then you launch it and nothing happens. And you're like, what did I do wrong? And I'm not saying being consistent for a week or 2 weeks. Like you said,
Right.
a minimum of 6 weeks and you keep going. And that is the hardest part because it does. And oftentimes we think to ourselves, like, I'm annoying people. I'm saying the same
Yeah.
message over and over and over again. And this is such a mindset shift to make as a creator because you're not, because we're consuming, as consumers, we're consuming so much content on a daily basis that like things just get lost and we forget things and we think like that we've seen a message only the first time and it could have been 14 times that we've already seen it and we just didn't realize it. And I think the new statistic, because it used to be you had to like share a product 7 times. It was a rule of seven in order to before you would on average make a sale. Now, because of the way content is pushed and how quickly content is out, I think it's like 20 to 30 times.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, I mean, I've gone through every motion there is possible. I feel like that's why I relate to sale because I'm not always perfectly consistent. I'll go 3 months and I'll burn out. So I know what burnout feels like. I know why it happened. And then I'll take a break for a while and then I'll come back and then I won't talk about it. And like I'm not perfect, so it helps me to help other people because
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I know that it feels like this, but this is what we do to get off of and get unstuck.
Yeah.
But for me, the creators that have been posting about the same stuff for so long are so comforting to me.
Yeah.
Like it's your it people like that they know what to expect from people. It's comforting if you are always sharing something totally off the wall, totally different, and it's not what people expect from you, it throws people off because they followed you or
Mhm.
they fell in love with you because you shared about XYZ or because your opinions were XYZ or because, everybody has their own reason for following and it's just super interesting. And for me, it's really interesting to look at the reels that bring in the most followers.
Mhm.
Like my reel that has, I think it brought in like 8 to 10,000 followers, and it still brings in followers. Is a Shania Twain, which is amazing to me because that's my woman. Shania Twain, song, and I'm holding like a rake or something in my garden, and I put you know, tra trailer trash, but 200 people hit follow a day. And it was supposed to be such a funny, it was supposed to be such a funny reel. And I walk up with my thing and it's like, "Dun, dun, 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 cool." And I just say, cool on the camera. Girl, if I would have known, and I'm like, this is the funniest thing that could, and you know what? It was people who related to me that probably live in mobile homes. We put a mobile home on our property. In a mobile homes, like, oh my gosh, she lives in a trailer and she gets 200 followers a day, And it's like, that is the most random reel. But you know what? That reel had a call to action.
Mhm.
It wasn't just an empty, it had a call to action about how to grow your Instagram. Like, it was a girl to go by. Like, y'all, if you just create the content, be yourself, have fun, just get your messaging
Yeah.
straight. This
Yeah.
is like game,
Yeah,
you know.
and in all seriousness too, like I see there's such a back and forth in the creative world about like don't focus on content that wants to go viral or focus on content that goes viral and stuff. And
Yeah,
it's just a delicate
it is.
balance. It's such a delicate because you want to be consistent in your messaging all the time and you want to put quality first and so forth. But at the same time, one viral reel can literally change your life and like change your
Yeah,
business.
it can. And the thing is one viral reel that just kind of like you don't expect, it happens. Those people are going through your other reels and learning more about you. And like they're going to look at your profile and like they're deciding that they want to follow you, and so the problem happens when somebody goes viral for a reel that's
Yeah.
unrelated at
Yeah.
all to what they do, and you end up with all these dead followers that don't care about anything else that you've ever or will ever post again. So that's what I said. I was so happy that that reel was about Instagram growth because even though it was outrageous and funny and just like, it was Shania Twain, so I had to make the voiceover. So yeah, it's like if that reel would have been about like something about like, marriage or anything else that I don't talk about on my Instagram, then I would have been like, man, it's all these people that just don't align with the rest of my content. And it would
That
have,
happened to me on TikTok. I
yeah.
was so bummed, I'll be honest. Like it was a video, this was 4 years ago, 5 years ago now. Yeah, my daughter was a baby. My oldest was a baby. And because it was a reel of her, or it was a TikTok of her, she sneezed and it was adorable. And it went viral on TikTok and brought in tens of thousands of followers on TikTok. But all of them came because of the reel of my daughter sneezing. None of them had anything to do with anything else that I was sharing. At that time, I think I was in essential oils and stuff. And so like none of them had anything to do with the oil world and didn't do, and I'm like, what do I do with this now? Because like not I can't talk to any of these people. It doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
And then trying to change it because the algorithm sees that that
Yeah.
happens and that content takes off, and then it doesn't want to push
Yeah.
any of your other content.
Yeah.
So I ended up having to create a whole new TikTok and like
Isn't that crazy?
it's taking longer to like build that one up, but I'm like very cautious now because I'm like, all right, I need to make sure that everything that I pretty much post is like what is aligned with my
Yeah,
business.
so what I tell people is whenever you go to, before you hit post on that reel that you just created, think through, okay, what kind of people would this bring in?
Yeah.
Because there has been times whenever I've had really hilarious or really good, deep, meaningful, real ideas, and I'm like, what's going to happen to this reel? People are going to send this to their husbands,
Hmm.
it's gonna get sent to their husbands, and then their husbands are gonna want to follow from what I've said, or they're gonna want to comment
Hmm.
like a rebuttal or support or whatever that may be. And then I'll have a bunch of male followers, or the algorithm will push me into men's algorithms, and I didn't want that. And
Hmm.
so, and it's weird, it's nuanced. You have to really think through, like, okay, who's gonna see this and what are they gonna do with it?
Yes.
One of my best reels again was, and I had made a guide about this, about creating shareable reels. And
Yes.
one of my best reels was a Mother's Day reel. And it was basically just like, you're a good mom. Like when I see you, when I watch you mother your kids, it makes me want to be a good mom. And I love that because our kids deserve good moms.
Hmm.
And so, of course, all of the women were sending that to their best mom friends that were, good moms in their eyes. And it was such a good, like, I don't create that stuff to like, oh, this is going to go viral. But I was like, this deeply resonates with me. And like some of the things that I put out there is just like, no, this deeply resonates with me. I think this would be good, like send it out there. It's not like, oh, this is going to go viral. But once I posted it and I thought back, I'm like, wow, it's like, it's the perfect time to do it. They're going to be sending it to their friends, and it's going to attract good women that
Yeah.
I want in my circle. It's not going to attract, like people who hate being a mom. Like it's going to be like this moms who are trying to be good moms and are trying to really enjoy the hard years.
Yeah. No, if I were the one looking at this content for the first time, like who would I want to send this to? Who would I want this person to send? And sharing the shareable content, the sh little arrow thing is, I'm pretty sure Adam has said it's like the most important piece of
Yeah,
the algorithm is how shareable your content is.
yeah,
And I honestly haven't thought about it in the way that you just said about like they would share it to their husbands, then you'd get all these male followers and stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's
yeah,
really good advice to just take and let that sit for you with you for a minute. Cause it's like, All right. Who don't focus on the likes, don't focus on the comments. Focus on who they're sending this to. And I know it's so different. Like I have one best friend that we literally only communicate every single day through cat reels.
Yeah.
Like random cat reels. And then I have another one that I just send all these goat reels to. But like my husband, I'm constantly sending him stuff to look at. And like, okay, the content that I'm curating for my brand, I want them to send these to my ideal audience, right?
Right.
And so
Yeah.
you want to create that content that they'll do that with. Okay, so then with the Instagram growth strategies, what do you feel then are some that people overlook? Like, what would you say are your top three that you think people overlook?
Okay. So number one, and this may be talked about enough, but yeah, it probably isn't. Because honestly, all of the calls, the coaching calls that I get on where I go through all of their content and like everything that they're doing, and we just tear everything apart. Your bio. Your
Mm,
bio is
yep.
so powerful. It can, and I see the difference in bios all the time. And I can see, I'm like, dang, if she would just switch this, I think it'd be rude to message people and be like, hey, your bio's all about you. It's not serving anybody, but it can't be all about you. So like what we want to do is like wife, mom, flower former, loves coffee. Like I'm talking about myself. Wife, mom, flower former, loves coffee. Um, blah 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 blah. And it gives no indication of that we have something to offer the
Yep.
person reading it. And it just says me, me, me. This is who I am. And like this might sound really harsh, but like honestly, the majority of people don't need to know every bit about you
Yeah.
to need what you have.
Yeah.
They want to know what about you relates to me in a way that serves me that I can get from point A to point B faster. So say like Instagram growth and just like for clarity purposes, I change my bio often. I test different bios. I tested
Same.
them. Yeah, and I think everybody should. I think people don't change them enough to test it and see and how it feels and what in the moment that you're doing and what in the moment that you want to focus on and just like test your bio. Don't be afraid to go and change it. There's different keywords, and let it sit for a few months and like see what happens and change it up. But yeah, I really think that like changing your bio in a way that like I can do this for you or I have this for you and this is what it'll do for you makes a huge difference when it goes from personal Instagram to like I'm making this a business and I'm making an income.
Yeah.
Because personal Instagrams, they should be all about you and your family. When you switch that mindset and you're like, no, I want to make an income from Instagram. To make an income to make an income, you have to be serving people.
Yep.
It's truly that easy. Like your income is never going to come if you're all about yourself. And I see this with, women that are trying to like push the influencer vibe. And I'm like, everything you post is all about you.
Hmm.
What you're wearing, where you're going today, what coffee you're drinking. Like it's all about you. It's never helpful to anybody else.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to attract women that like to watch other women
Yeah.
live their life, which that amount of people is not like it used to be.
Yeah.
Remember when we were all just really into watching other people's lives, like reality TV and stuff, when that came out?
Hmm.
Our mindsets are we've got so overwhelmed with that now it's shift to what can I get out of this?
Yep.
What will make me healthier,
Yeah.
richer, have more friends, have a better marriage, be a better mom?
Hmm.
Like we want to know, okay, like, okay, we watched like you were a fish in a fishbowl for so long. Now we want to improve our lives. We don't want to just watch you have a great life. How
Mm.
can I improve my life? And like women are like really dramatically taking steps to improve their lives. I find like we talked about, before we got on this podcast, we talked about homesteading, gardening, that whole lifestyle, like wanting the family to be home. That's women running that movement of like, no, I don't want to be in this rat race. I don't want to just live to pay a house note. I don't want to just try to have what everybody else has. Like I want less because I want to be happier. I want to be more content. That's where we are in like our culture now, which I love.
Yes, same.
I'm so glad that I don't have to keep up with the Joneses and I can, go viral for having a trailer on 12 acres and a garden. You know,
Yes,
like it's
same.
yeah,
Yes.
like
Yes. And I want to jump back to your comment about the bios, the Instagram bios.
yeah, we got to go through the other two, right?
Well, a strategy I unintentionally started using was my husband. He writes my bios.
Nice.
Because
That's
like he
smart. Someone else writing it.
yeah, he knows my brain, like he knows what I'm trying to curate and stuff. And I get like I what is the word I'm looking for? I question my choices all the time.
Absolutely.
Like I
Normal.
have to change everything. Nothing can stay the same except for my husband. Like I have to change things all the time. And my bio is one of those things. And like I was really struggling in this pivot that I took into helping more with brand growth and for moms building their own
Right.
brands for monetization online and stuff. Like I was like, I don't know, because a big, deeply rooted side in my brand is like our Orthodox side and everything. And I like is one of the most vital pieces. And I don't know how to tie this together. And so he wrote my bio and I'm like, cool, thank you. Like
Right.
we're just gonna run with that and test that because he knows me. He knows what I'm trying to build.
That's a good
Um,
idea. If you have a friend that you've been talking about your brand, or even honestly, somebody who can just look at your brand from the outside and
yeah,
say, this is what you do for people. Do you realize that? This is what you do for people. And you're like, oh, I didn't even realize I did that for people. But
yeah,
that's exactly what all of my products do, So that's a really good idea for people. But the second thing is the link in bio.
yes,
Oh, the link in bio. Okay, so I think I I want to tell people that if they have a link in bio and they have something to offer for people, they will grow faster because they have a clear goal. They know where they want to get people. They want to get people to that link in bio, to what they offer. And then on the flip side, whenever someone gets to your profile, so if I come across somebody's profile and I see all this great information on Reels and all this stuff and I'm connecting and I go and there's nothing to click, I'm
hmm
like, what a dead end.
hmm
So, like, whatever you're selling, whatever you're doing, whatever you're focusing on, your link in bio should be just like dialed in, the most important thing at the top, laid out very nicely, but not overwhelming. And that's something that, like, to comfort everybody is just a living, breathing thing that you just have to like change often or, like test things. And like right now, I'm involved in the homestead bundle and I think it's just a week. So I put the homestead link in my bio, which right now I'm taking a little break from my gardening Instagram, but I just put that link in there and the first day someone purchased it because it was in the bio. And it was in the link in bio and I changed my bio to say like, hey, you can grab my homegrown revenue in in this bundle. And so it's a really good deal. They have some really cool stuff in the bundle. But yeah, for the next week, that'll be my link in bio because I'm not worried about selling my other offers right now. Like I'm taking a little hiatus and kind of like reevaluating everything that I offer and wanting to like simplify it all. And so, yeah, I put that link there. But if you don't have something for people to go and purchase or book or read more or get on your email list, then you're missing out on all of the potential
yeah.
for your business. And then the third one is the more you post, the faster you grow, which people don't like to hear. But honestly, I did it from B-roll.
Yes.
Yeah, like it's just you don't and I've reused B-roll so many times in different forms and fashions. And so like if somebody is struggling with creating content and they're like, I don't know what to talk about today. I don't know what to post. Like what do I record? Like you should have a bank of B-roll of just you doing everyday things for whenever you can think of what to post or you have your content plan in place.
Yeah.
However their brains work, because everybody's brains work so different. Like I work in the moment. Like I could post three different reels in a day from just like, oh, this would be a good idea, post. This would be a good idea, post. If I had to sit down and create a content plan for the whole month, I'd be like, what if I'm not in the mood to post? Like
Yeah.
I'm just such a type B person that I'm just like ADHD,
Yeah.
fast brain.
I
But for some
prefer
reason,
content plans as like a bank.
yes. Yeah, just to pull from whenever you don't know what to post would be
Yes.
amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, my fastest growth, I was posting 3 to 4 reels a day, but people would be like, oh my gosh, that would take you all day long. I'm like, it took me like tw 2 minutes per reel,
Mhm.
honestly.
Yeah.
post.
I mean, I just told you, like, whenever before we even started recording the podcast, it was like my audio wasn't turned on because I was navigating a reel that I just had inspiration to create really quick.
It makes it more fun too. It doesn't feel like when you make Instagram or social media in general more fun for you, and you don't overthink it too much, and you just have like what you're trying to sell or book or the people that you're trying to attract, and you can just kind of like have fun within that, then that's what makes it enjoyable.
And I feel like that content also does better for me.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like just the
Okay.
off the cuff random thoughts and
Yes. Yeah. Because you know what? Whatever you're going through, other people are going through.
hmm
Their little random thoughts throughout the day, they don't exist in a vacuum. Like there's so many of us that can relate. Like it's amazing how many of us can relate to each other and have never met each other. We live in different states. We just grew up totally different. I grew up Baptist, you grew up, you know,
Well, I
not
grew up Protestant. I'm just now Eastern Orthodox. We've only been
okay.
Orthodox for 3 years, but I did grow up. I
Okay,
was
we relate on
Methodist for the longest time.
okay. I think Methodist and Baptist are very similar.
They
I
are.
married a Catholic though, so
I see. My husband was Methodist his whole life. He converted us to Orthodoxy.
okay, so explain that religion to me because I don't know. I know Baptist, Catholic, Pentecostal,
hmm
a few Methodists around, like and non-denominational is like huge around here now. It's
Yes.
just like these massive churches around here. So
Yeah.
what's like the difference between yours and all of the ones I just named? What's the major difference?
Everything else came from Eastern Orthodoxy. If you
Okay.
if you read the Book of Acts, that's or the Orthodox Church. It's the original Church of Christ, the one that the apostles actually created. And then when the Great Schism happened, Roman Catholicism broke off from Orthodoxy.
Okay,
And
so it's before Catholicism.
yes, it's the original church.
Wow. I want to
Yeah.
I want to read more of that because me and my husband have healthy arguments about Catholicism and being a Baptist because there's major differences. And yeah, I want to know because, around here that, it's talks about that Catholicism is the number one, first church. So, but I'm sure it's a lot of stuff pulled from the first. Anyway, we'll
Yes,
get to
there's a
that.
lot of traditions within Catholicism that are similar to Orthodoxy,
Yeah.
because they do kind of go, but it's actually just, it's always interesting to me. I have a good friend of ours in our current church. He's getting married soon, and he's Orthodox. His fiance is Catholic. And it's interesting to me because in Orthodoxy, if you're marrying someone who's not within the faith, it still has to be an Orthodox wedding and will only be recognized if it's an Orthodox wedding. But the Catholic Church recognizes Orthodoxy. So the Catholic Church will recognize the marriage if it's done in an Orthodox church, but an Orthodox church will not recognize a Catholic marriage, like within the Orthodox Church. So
Wow.
it's
Interesting.
Catholics are much more lenient toward like they're more welcoming. They know that Orthodoxy is like I don't know, it's a gray area. There's a lot of battles and like
I was about to say
this.
somebody's listening saying,
Oh, 100%. I've got
yeah, we
I've got a
won't get
few
into
Catholic
that.
friends that I know are listening and I'm gonna get some text messages from. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's if you read the church history from the schism, whenever they all met in Constantinople, and my husband knows more about it. But basically, Eastern Orthodoxy has primarily remained the same from what the church that the apostles created. And then Catholicism broke off from that, and then all the Protestant churches broke off
Right.
from Catholicism. Um,
Right.
so yeah, that's kind of how it started.
It's so interesting. Yeah, it's really weird that well, I say it's really weird. I tell my husband I didn't have many Baptist choices because we live in like southern Louisiana, and North Louisiana is a ton of Baptists. It's weird. Louisiana is a weird
Bible
state.
Belt.
Yes. Yes. Dangerous Bible Belt at some point. Okay, so yeah, so my mom's from North Louisiana. And but she moved when she was young to southern, like around Lafayette area, And so we're in like Cajun country here. So I grew up one of the only Baptist kids out of all of my Catholic friends. And then I grew up to marry a Catholic. And I told Corey, I was like, I mean, there were no Baptist boys available. you know but we've made it work. I mean, we still do have to, meet in the middle in some things, and there are some things obviously that like, you know he accepts about, it's a dance. But it's interesting. Yeah. But anyway, like I was saying, we have so much in common with people across everywhere. You just never know how you're going to connect to people. So I have a friend that we followed each other for like the last 10 years and we've never met in person. We're states and states away. And the other day she posted in her stories about Delilah, the radio host. Do you know Delilah? Oh
No.
no. Okay. So, I grew up falling asleep to Delilah. She's a nighttime radio host and it's love songs at night. And I
Oh,
was young and I would have my radio on my dresser and fall asleep to Delilah. And it was like the older love songs or whatever. People would call in like, this is going on, and she's like, I'm gonna play a song for you. So she'd play a song. Her voice is just really calming. And so my friend posted about falling asleep to Delilah at night when she was a kid. And I was like, they were living a parallel life. I did that too. And so
yeah.
like just like making a reel about that, could you imagine the niche amount of women who are like, "Oh my God, you're a Delilah listener too?"
Yeah.
Like I thought I was the only one. And so like you think that those little things in your life that were like pivotal in your life or how you were raised or like just your beliefs and stuff like that, you think you're like, oh, like there's not many people who did that or believe that or think that or feel that. And you post on a reel and they're like, are we the same person? And it's like, wow, we all are so connected in
Yeah.
so many ways. Instagram is just super magical in that way. You're like, and then when people create reels and I'm like, oh my gosh, I think that too. And it's so random. And I send it to my sisters, like, this is exactly how I feel. It's just so cool.
Yes. No, I love it so much. And that's part of the beautiful side. There's so much negativity that happens online all the time
Oh
and
yeah,
like
for
keyboard
sure.
bullies or keyboard bullies and all the things, but I choose to really focus on the beautiful side, like all of these communities that can be made. And these really niched communities too, which is awesome. And even just like you and I, for example, I've been following you for a little while and stuff, and we didn't even start the podcast interview yet, and I jump on and I'm like, all right, now I feel like I've already like made a new best friend because we were vibing so hard on things, the stuff we were talking about. And I have a friend of mine, she we've never met in person, same deal. She lives on the other side of Pennsylvania from me. But we still never met in person. We actually met on Clubhouse. Do you remember when Clubhouse was a thing?
Yes. I got on
Yes.
and got right back off. It was so overstimulated.
Oh, I was obsessed with Clubhouse.
I was so overstimulated. That's the
Oh,
thing, right? Where everybody's in a chat and talking and
I was
oh,
obsessed with it. It
but
was like my thing. I loved it during COVID and I met her on it. And her and I became really good friends. And to this day, we still haven't met each other in person. We joke about getting our families together to like meet at Great Wolf Lodge or something in the middle of the state. Um,
amazing.
we support each other's, but and it's so funny because like she'll join in on my Patreon calls on Tuesday night and she'll talk about something in our house. And like, I feel like I know your house. I've never been to it, but like I've FaceTimed you so many times. Like I just feel like I know your house.
Oh yeah, I'm Marco Polo with my friend Tori. She's over there in Colorado. I'm in Louisiana. I've never met in person. We met through doing the same course, a really cool like show it web design course that we're both in. We kind of connected that way, and yeah, now we're planning on like hopefully flying together to one of the conferences and rooming and stuff like that. And like I know so much about like her kids and her husband's life, and like she knows everything about my life. And we Marco Polo when we do our steps every day. So I try to get in, 5 to 10,000 steps a day,
Yep.
is what I say. And so when she goes on her walk, she'll Marco Polo me back and I'll Marco Polo her back. And yeah, the internet is such a crazy place. It's such a crazy place. Like I'll consider her one of my best friends. I talk to her every week, almost every day. Never met in person,
Yep.
but she's helped me through things and like same with her. Like we've talked about things and yeah, I really do. I've always been an internet girl. I did zines back in the day. Do you remember zines, emails that people would create?
No.
Hey, do you remember Dolls Mania?
No.
Did you have a computer when you were like 12?
Yeah, but it was different. I had a very different childhood than most. I had to sneak my MySpace. It was really ironic actually, because I come from like a traumatic childhood, but like I had to sneak my MySpace. I wasn't allowed to have that. I wasn't allowed to have Facebook, but I had one anyways, mostly because I just wanted Farmville. I was a very different kid.
Oh yeah, yeah. You play Sims? Did you
Did I
play the
play what?
Sims?
Oh yeah. I still
Okay,
do. I still have Sims on my phone.
stop it. That's awesome.
Yeah, and now that I know that you have Marco Polo, I'm definitely gonna like Marco Polo you
Oh
from
yeah,
now
yeah,
on.
for sure. I do not look like this on Marco Polo. This is a few levels up, even though this
This
is
is called my podcast space. Other than this, it's like a messy bun, and
I
we just
have makeup on and it looks like I have hair. So that is
it looks
Marco
like I
Polo.
have hair.
I have hardly any hair when I'm on Marco Polo. I'm like, I got a little tiny bun. But yeah, so back in the desktop computer, big computer days when we first got our family computer, I was like, this is amazing. Like I would create, so I would get in the AOL chat rooms and I created email lists, which I didn't know I was doing email marketing at the time. I was young. I would take emails from all these kids and I would add them to my AOL email, like in the to section, I would have like hundreds of emails of all these random kids from these chat rooms. And I would write zines, which were online magazines. And somebody's going to listen to this and be rolling laughing that they either got them or created them. But it would be these random kids that would create these zines. And it was almost like it was just a newsletter. And my newsletter would be all about Dolls Mania dolls. And if you Googled it, you would just be laughing. It was literally these flat cartoon dolls girls, which I don't know. I think they had like the breast outline and stuff like that. Like if like my mom would have walked in, she would have been like, "What are you doing?" But it was like it was not like that. You would dress them. So like you would pull a shirt, you would pull pants, you would pull their shoes, a headband, kind of like paper dolls, but it was
Yeah.
online. And it was amazing. I can still picture all of it. And so I would create all these dolls and then I would download them, like screenshot them, put them in these emails, and I would make like headers by doing like J J J J J J J J J J and then highlighting and making the J's pink and the background pink. So it would be a pink line. And then I'll
Oh
have
my
my doll.
gosh.
Somebody somewhere is dying right now because they either did it or they and so I'd have these hundreds and hundreds of kids' emails, and I would send these Dolls Mania newsletters that I'd work on for hours and hours on the computer. And I remember one time I was like almost done with my zine, and it probably had a name. I don't remember. I probably changed it all the time, just the way that I am. But and I accidentally did not save the draft and deleted it, and I cried in my mom's bed. And she would just didn't really understand what I was doing. She knew I was doing zines and emailing all these people, but I remember crying like, "Oh, I spent so much time on
Oh my gosh. I have no idea.
business." It was a marketing business the first time I ever had a computer. So it's just so funny. And I
And
know
we
somebody,
wonder why millennials have become the biggest content creators. Like we were doing that at 10 and 12,
we were picking songs for our MySpace, for our moods.
right?
Oh, yes, we know how to
100%.
pick a song, girl.
That I did do. That
Yes.
that's so funny. I actually posted on Threads the other. Did you ever use LimeWire?
Oh, yes.
Okay, someone didn't know what that was. But I posted on Threads the other day. I was like, I feel like when I download my reels from Snap Insta, I'm like stealing music from LimeWire again. Go through the ads to download it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Oh,
And then
that's
getting all your first ringtones, finding all that music for your first cell phone and stuff like that.
having so
Yeah,
much millennial
we've been
nostalgia.
finding songs for a long time now. So yeah.
My husband
We've
still did that. He really likes because he travels for work, so he really likes the tone at the airport, the doo-doo thing. So he found it to make his text ringtone on his work phone.
That's funny. That's
All
super fun.
right. Oh, okay. I mean, that's hilarious. I did not know about this. And now I'm gonna use that whole segment as one of the promo reels for this episode because like I'm gonna pull so many like niche people in who you see. I've never heard of this and I'm so mad.
I mean, I cannot be the only one. If you put that out there and everybody's like, did she make that up? No, like zines were a thing. I learned it from somewhere. Somebody else was doing it. I was getting zines. I was sending zines. I mean, they might have been on my zine list because I was like scraping the AOL chat rooms. Hey, I have a zine about Dolls Mania. Like, drop your email, I'll send it to
The way
you.
you're describing Dolls Mania sounds familiar. Like that actually does kind of sound familiar to me, but Zines does not. And I'm just thinking about this, like when I put this on TikTok, especially, we're going to find someone like niched who's like, what? Like they're
Yes.
probably gonna be like, I was on her
What a memory. What a memory. Yeah. I
email list.
mean, I'm still making zines. I'm just doing it on Flowdesk for email marketing. But I
Yes.
loved it then. I love it now. And it's just weird how everybody just has a different, like it just comes full circle. It's the weirdest thing, you know?
I spent so much time burning CDs and now I'm making digital products. Like I'm just making my own mixes.
Same, yes. It is
Well,
all coming together.
well, speaking of content creation, then how do you balance that authenticity then with strategy when you're creating content?
Oh, so I mean, honestly, like we talked about earlier, the strategy is truly knowing what you offer, who would it be for, what problems do they have, how you fix it with your solution. That's all the strategy part, and that changes with every digital product that you create because it might be a little nuanced toward this or what they're struggling with. But the authenticity is just honestly, I mean, I hate to say being yourself, but like being unafraid to, like we've been talking about, talk about those things where you think nobody relates,
Yeah.
but they do and they'll connect. And just, yeah, not being afraid to be like judged for what you say, not being afraid to be funny if you think of something funny, which other people might not think is funny, or other people might think you're the most hilarious person, they want to follow you from it. Like that's kind of, sometimes I'm like, wow, that was really nerdy of me to post something twice and I think that's funny as I did. It's really okay to get deep and like share your feelings about stuff because people are feeling the same thing. So once you have your strategy and like I said, for who, what is it, like where in their life does this fit or where in their business does this fit, being very clear about that. The rest of it is just having fun, being yourself, just like letting your personality shine through, like I said, like trailer park 200 followers, or trailer trash 200 followers a day. How many people were like, don't call yourself trailer trash, you're beautiful, and I'm like, oh, thanks. Thank you.
But then
Like
it literally did start pulling in like 200 followers a day.
it did. It did. I mean, yeah, and I'm still getting followers from old reels, which used to not be the case. Used to reels would kind of die off after a few
Yeah.
days. Now, most of my followers, since I'm not really actively posting right now, like I said, I'm kind of going through like this transition, figuring things out stage, which all of us do after like every few like years or months or whatever. We're like, okay, like is what I'm doing working, is what I'm offering aligned with who I want it to align with, how does it fit within my life. um while I'm going through this transition, I'm still getting multiple followers a day, because of older reels that they just follow from that reel, and you can see which reel they follow from. So yeah, it's really interesting how long reels um last. I mean, some that are months old are still coming back up in the feed for people.
I feel like the more
um,
niched the reel is, the more that that happens too. Like I that happens a lot with me with my Orthodox content
Oh yeah, I'm
because
sure.
Orthodoxy is like so niche in itself. It's so funny because it's like it feels like it's such a small community, but it's so vast at the same
Yeah,
time. And so that's usually my reels that are like bringing more people in are Orthodox ones that I've posted forever ago. That ended up pulling them in, and I feel like just the more niched content like that,
it's true.
that's where that happens. Yeah. Real quick, we're going to pause on this episode. Courtney and I have dove into a really long, awesome conversation, and it has so much value. And we're just excited for you guys to hear it that we are actually doing this in a two-part series. So we're going to come back next week for part two of my talk here with Courtney. And I just want to thank her for being on today. And we're going to see you guys next week. If you guys liked what you heard today, be sure to rate the show, like, subscribe, all the things. Share it to your Instagram stories and tag Courtney and I. We would love to hear what you thought. And be sure to subscribe to the show so you don't miss part two coming next week. You can see everything in the show notes, and be sure to join my email list too so you can get notified as soon as part two is up. Thanks, guys, for listening, and we'll see you again soon. God bless. Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you loved what you heard today, please give the show a rating, share it to your Instagram, and be sure to tag me. This will help the show reach more moms just like you. If you're curious about any of my resources, be sure to click the link in the show notes and feel free to email me at jillhughes@myrrhbearingmillennial.com. That's all for now, and we'll chat again soon. God bless.